Good evening. This is Wednesday and it is 7 p.m. here in South Africa, or Pretoria, where I live. And it's just wonderful to have you joining us wherever you might be. That this evening is going to be one that just warms the heart, that gets you excited about the future and makes you look forward to being an active contributor to a better world. And for me, the kind of people that do that are the people who connect with their purpose and passion, and they are engaging in all kinds of interesting ways. So I'm going to welcome the panel a little bit later in the session. We're going to have Henny, Mick, and probably Gustav joining us tonight, and I look forward to an exciting and vibrant discussion. Tonight is about the MAPD series, and I want to share a little bit about the idea of being mapped in the context of our guiding values. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because the big thing in life is to share your vision with others. Because if your vision involves other people, if it's something that's going to benefit other people, then you need to share it with them. And so I want to do that with you this evening. I remember when I put Map for Life together back in 1999, I was racing to meet a deadline. I'm sure if you work in the corporate environment, you know all about deadlines. I think it's become more of a thing today. So if you're on a project of some kind, there's some kind of deadline. Usually it results in you working longer hours over weekends. Well, I found myself in that position. And I got this manuscript together. It had wonderfully creative spelling inside the book, so I discovered after it was published. But I felt it was ready. I needed to get it into the bookstores because this was my millennium project. If you remember, the year 2000 was kind of an exciting year, or rather the year 1999, because everybody was excited about acronyms like Y2K was one of those things. And so everybody was preparing for this big event. And I'd had this sense that I needed to put together a tool to help people discover their purpose. And what better time than to launch this at the dawn, at the start of a new millennium. And so I had a deadline, and boy, oh boy, did I have a deadline. And it was early October of 1999. I took my manuscript to the printers. And I think it was a day later, I suddenly realized that I had not included my mission statement inside this book, which was all about direction and finding your purpose. So I phoned the printers and I said, can I include my purpose? And they said, well, if you get it here before midday today, we can include it. And I put my mission statement together, and it read like this: to equip people to pursue their purpose with passion and perseverance for life. Map for Life itself was a tool to help people to put together a master action plan. It was all about action, but here I put in a statement that would later define the very essence of what Map for Life was about. I didn't know it at that stage. I was simply providing people with a valuable tool to help them to move from where they are to where they want to be. And that's still the essence of Map for Life. But inside, deep inside, it puts you on a journey to seek and discover your purpose. And it will not let you alone. Anybody who's ever dug into Map for Life and begun to use it begins their own purpose quest. And this happens, I think, naturally in people's lives when they get to that midlife. I kind of wonder sometimes if I've been there, if I'm still there, if I'm past there, or where I'm at. And I think there are people that can identify. But what I've noticed is that between the age of 35 and 55, people become serious about discovering or finding, as Simon Sinek says, their why. And so I just want to share the guiding statements for Map for Life in a slightly different context this evening, because we've been following the MAPD series. So I'm going to stick with that acronym. And the letter M for me this evening is going to be talking about our mission. What is our mission? What are we actually trying to do? And although I had written my mission statement as to equip people to pursue their purpose with passion and perseverance back in September 1999, October 1999, I reviewed that during the great preparation. For those of you who've been watching Map for Life, you know that the past 3 years, at starting in the early part of 2020, was the great preparation, preparing people for purpose. And it was during that time, September 2021, that I wrote down our mission statement in a short 3-word statement. And it reads like this: our mission is to, 3 words, make life purposeful. To make life purposeful, to get up in the morning and have a reason to live. That's what Map for Life is about. I mean, who wants to wake up because an alarm clock rang? Who wants to wake up because their boss said they had to be at the office at 8 a.m.? Who wants to wake up just simply to clock in and clock out every single day? I think we all want to wake up having a clearly defined mission that excites us, that motivates us, that inspires us, so much so that our passion exudes in a way that it causes a fire around us. Other people catch the vision. So if you feel like I do right now about the value of making life purposeful, then that's what Map for Life's mission is. And we would love you to be part of that mission, because I think wherever you are, there's a need to make life purposeful. I'm sure you agree. And that's why you're joining in this evening. This is the time. There is no time like now. I think we're living in an era. In fact, when we started the year 2020, I talked about the era of purpose. I talked about the concept of a new dawn. And I think we are in that time. 20 years from now, we'll be able to look back at this time, and we may be saying things like, that was the beginning of a turn, a change, a new direction for society, a time when people realized that life is more valuable than chasing an income check at the end of the day. There's something more important for us to do. You know, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm going to share it nonetheless. I started doing something during lockdown, which was to walk around my neighborhood. Now, the little walk around my neighborhood is approximately 3 kilometers in length. It's a square, surprise, surprise. It's a square that I walk, and the square is a 750 meters by 750 meters. Okay, so I'm sure you can picture that. Well, there's another figure that was actually written inside the foreword of Map for Life by Miles Monroe, and it was a figure that related to the people on the planet. And the figure today is somewhere of the order of 8 billion people. Now that is an 8 with 9 zeros behind it. It's a number that you might never have seen in your life, although there's 3.5 billion characters in just one DNA molecule, which happens to be inside the simple cell. But you know, this number of 8 billion seems to be huge. It seems to be a big number. But I did a little interesting engineering thing this past week. And it was to take a look at what is the volume that an average human takes up. Now, I'm not too sure whether you're an average human or not, but an average human, according to the lift, when you get into the lift to go to the third floor in your building, it would use a figure like 72 kilograms. Now, if you operate in pounds, I've no idea what that is. It's probably about 180 pounds or something. But 72 kilograms is the average weight of a human being. Now, I know Henny's going to say, is that all? Goodness me, I'm definitely not average. Because, you know, Henny's 1.92 meters tall. And so he certainly can't fit into a 72 kg body frame. But if that is the average, the volume that size person would displace is 75 liters, because we're a little bit lighter than water. 75 liters. And if you go and do the calculation, you can fit 8 billion people, volume-wise, 8 billion people. Just listen, 8 billion people in the 750 by 750 meters square that I've been walking around. If you turn that into a cube that is 750 meters high, the entire world's population can fit into the little block that I walk around. I want you to realize that there's not a lot of people. There's a small number. I mean, you can throw a bowling ball out an airplane again and again and again, and the chance of you hitting a human being is absolutely, well, it's so close to zero. I want you to know that you are special, you are unique, you are one of a kind in amongst that. And so for you and I, we have this ability to make life purposeful, and we should engage with that opportunity. Our life is short. It's a very short span. We should not allow the future of this world and the future direction that mankind takes be left in the hands of a few elected politicians. I mean, if you imagine, South Africa's got a huge government. I think there's something like 400 people. But if we had 400 people as leading every country, which is definitely not the case, the number of people who are making decisions about the future and where we go is just so small. And the reason it's so small is because we have forgotten that we are here for a short period. And this is a time of purpose. We need to engage in our purpose, because when we do, we can influence the course of history. In fact, when you declare your purpose and write your vision, you are writing history in advance. Your vision becomes someone else's document or historic document. And I think we need to begin to see that. So let's make life purposeful together. That's our mission. What is our aim? You'll understand the aim when I deliver the purpose. But the aim is, you know, what direction are we going? What is the goal? What is the milestone? What is it that we are wanting to achieve? What can we measure? And it's very simple. Our aim is to be established in 200 countries and 20 languages. Maybe we can add to that 200 countries, 20 languages, and 20 functional worlds, 20 different tribes. So maybe a tribe would be a tribe of engineers, a tribe of manufacturers, a tribe of business owners. I don't know what tribe you are from, but our aim is very clear, and it has been since the beginning, 200 countries and 20 languages. Is that where we're going to stop? No, we're going to go beyond that. When I first declared this vision, people said, but there's not 200 countries on earth. I said, don't worry, there will be. You know, there will be 200 countries. And it wasn't very long after we started with Map for Life, and Sudan divided into two. There were other places around the world that began to divide. And I'm sure even earlier in the late 80s, early 90s, there were divisions that were happening. New countries were formed. That's going to continue. So our aim is very clear. Can you see that? Can you write that down? Of course you can. You can even go and pick up a map, something like I have sitting right over here on my desk. I can see the political divisions that mankind has, in their wisdom, created. When I fly in an aeroplane, I can assure you, I do not see any of those lines. I do not see those colors. Everything looks the same. It's just one big continent. And I think we should be living on a place where we are free to go wherever we are called to go. And so our aim is very clear in terms of a geographic map. And we say we're going to go into all those countries and empower people to live a life of purpose. So what is our purpose? What is the Map for Life mandate? Why do we exist? What is our reason for being? It's very simply stated. Again, just 3 easy words to remember. You won't believe it. But I didn't believe it either when I heard this statement when I was 12 years old back in 1978. And for those of you quick at mathematics, you suddenly realized I'm already 40. Back in 1978, at the age of 12, I had this vision to map the world. And right in front of me on the blackboard, or just above the blackboard, was a big picture. And the title of the picture that was there was called a world map. And I thought in that instant, the world is already mapped. It took me 30 years from that date to get to a point where I realized that, no, hang on, map the world means something different to what I saw. And so right now, this is what we are busy with. Every single person, whether they're using Map for Life, whether they're training other people to use Map for Life, whether they're spreading the message, they are engaged in this process of equipping people to have a map. We've been talking about the need for a map for generations. I remember the early meetings that I went as an engineer, people would say, okay, guys, let's map the way forward. And we all had a sense of what that meant, but nobody had a tool. Nobody had the ability to actually follow a process to definitively define the future. We've got that tool. We have it available, and it can be applicable in any and every situation. As a trainer, you just need to use your imagination, understand the need, and deliver a tool that can help that person move from where they are to where they want to be within the framework of their need. So our mandate is clear: map the world. Where is the world? Well, I want to tell you that tonight you are sitting on a place that's part of the world. Start mapping. Begin in your street, begin in your suburb, your city, your county, your country, your continent, wherever you are, whatever language you speak, just begin. Strangely, the tool that we have to start you on your journey is called begin. And if you look at the word begin, you will see there's 2 very distinct words there, and the one is be and the other one is in. And the question to you tonight is, are you in? Be in. Map the world. I think that is easy for us to picture, easy for us to visualize. And the question then is, why should we map the world? And I want to type this in here so that we have it there for you. And the reason we want to map the world is really defines our destiny. In other words, what is the outcome if we map the world? Well, it's in the very statement. When you've mapped the world is mapped. So the vision is a mapped world. And I've been going through a series with you talking about MAPD, being mapped. And when we talk about you being mapped or me being mapped, what the term we use there, or the slogan we use, is make a purposeful difference. When I was just starting out in engineering, there was a a computer-aided design program that came out that took away all of my learning, in essence. Everything I had studied to do at university was replaced by a computer program. Can you imagine? I can just think of the young people today. They're busy studying away and somebody announces AI and they suddenly realize all the years that I've been studying have been taken up by AI. I want to tell you that's not the case. You are an OI, an original intelligent being. You can do something that AI can never do. AI is just a pseudo thing. It kind of creates the impression that it is incredibly powerful. You are far more able than AI. And the reason we have AI today is because we are more advanced. Let's not go into that because I'm sure that'll open up a whole new subject and we don't want to go into that this evening. But destiny, what is our destiny? It's about making a purposeful difference, the world being mapped. Why did I say that? I said it because when I was referring to CAD, I got distracted, computer-aided design. The person who developed a particular package that we were using where I was working as a young engineer used a term which I had heard many times before. And she said, we need to be mad. And I thought, mad, that doesn't sound very positive. And she went on to say, we need to be making a difference. I think that we can make that statement far more clear. And that is, let's make a purposeful difference. And if we connect people with the purpose of their personal creation, I think that purpose has to have a purposeful impact, a positive outcome, and it should lead to them making life purposeful. I hope that what I've shared with you this evening about mission, aim, purpose, and destiny makes sense to you. And I hope that you individually also have a mission, an aim, a purpose, and a destiny. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to have an incredibly exciting panel discussion after this, and I look forward to Henny's going to help with the online comments and insights. We look forward to having you join us. Please remember to include the country that you're joining us from and your name so that we can involve you in the session. Thank you so much, and we will see you in just 40 seconds. So hold tight. We'll see you after this break. I'm back, and I want to bring in Henny and Mick, who are eagerly waiting to share their insights this evening. So let me bring them onto the screen. And it looks like we're also going to have Gustav joining us tonight. We're just waiting for Gustav to connect in with his camera, and we will be away with that. So good evening, Henny. Good evening, Mick. Mick, you're making us jealous. Yeah, in South Africa, it's a little bit chilly to be sitting outside, and of course, it's already dark.
It's pitch black. Yeah.
So we would love to give you the opportunity just to quickly introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and maybe just what excites you about Map for Life.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Mick McQuirk, and of course, I'm coming to you from the Republic of Ireland. Of course, I'm a business owner and entrepreneur. And I suppose I found out about Map for Life maybe about a year ago from Heather King, wonderful lady, great advocate for Map for Life. And of course, she runs the the Map Cafe, which she invited me to, and I've been a regular participant ever since. It's a fun thing to do. It's good to help focus your attention, and of course to learn and share with new ideas, and new thoughts, if you like, because we can get very kind of stuck in a rut sometimes, and by having different conversations with peers and like-minded people, not somebody who's going to jump into your pity party with you, but is maybe going to encourage you to maybe change your position and take a different look at it from a different angle. So yeah, it's a fun thing to do. I enjoy it. I like it. It's a privilege to be here tonight, and maybe share some insights that I have with you guys.
Thank you so much, Mick, and it's wonderful to have you joining us. At last, we can get an Irish perspective. I hope you see the green behind me. Well, it's not the 17th of March, but nonetheless, we're excited to have you joining us this evening. Henny, you're a regular on the MAP show on the Wednesday evenings, but I'm sure there's somebody that hasn't met you before. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, so I'm Henny from rainy Roodepoort. It's really cold and chilly where I live now, and dark. Yeah, I've been on the Map for Life journey, and the more I learn, the more I attend these sessions, the more you just learn all the nice intricacies and how straightforward and simple it is. It's such an easy process to follow. It's become a lifestyle of me. I've got a daily routine that I follow right now to make sure my habits are on par. And then, yeah, like I said, looking forward to these sessions because you learn so much from everybody joining the crew.
Henny, you're just saying something. I see on our comments section over here, Mick Passmore is joining us, and I know he's from Zambia, but I think, Mick, you know Passmore.
I do. He's a great guy.
And I think it's just so nice to have people from different parts of the world interacting, because as you said earlier, Mick, you have everybody has a different perspective based on their vantage point or where they are. So if I'm looking at my screen, I see you guys in a certain configuration, and if I describe that, it might be very different to the way that you are seeing me on your screen from your vantage point. And sometimes in life, we talk about things and we have actually different perspectives, and the perspectives we have aren't necessarily wrong, they're different, and we need to learn to be able to listen to other people's perspective, because if we do, it helps us to unlock some things. And so I'm going to I heard you saying something there, Mick, that you had some thoughts or insights to share. But before you do, I'm just going to ask Henny to just welcome those people who've joined. I think he's had a chance to see who's all there. And then I'm going to come back to you, Mick, to share some of your insights that you've had this evening.
Yeah, let's start from the top. So Quentin and Rian from South Africa, Quentin Cape Town, and Rian from Lydenburg in Mpumalanga. And then, like you correctly said, Passmore and Sankwe from Zambia has joined us, and then Ronald from Uganda.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to all of you. And for those of you who don't know where Rian is, if you go and look at this big world map that you have, and you might see South Africa. Next to South Africa is a country called Mozambique. He's close to Mozambique. Okay, so if you want to go and look it up, you'll find him there. So Rian, great to have you joining us. Mick, share one of your thoughts with us, just briefly, and because I know that Henny is also desperate to share some things. I could see while we were talking that he was already got all of these great things to share with us. Go ahead.
It was interesting listening to your talk in the beginning, and what kept coming to mind for me was a vision board, and having a clear picture of what it is that you want to achieve. And I think sometimes when even if you've done a vision board in the past, or you do, or you're thinking about these things, or even maybe writing these down in lists, sometimes we don't dream big enough, you know. And so having a clear vision and having it written down on a board, you know, I think that can really help with then, you know, having maybe the Map for Life philosophy and book to really kind of then de-chunk that down to be able to then set purposeful steps to achieving those things and allowing it to come to you. And I think by actually having that vision and having a vision board and writing it down and putting it out there into the universe, I think the universe responds by maybe opening doors for you. You might not always see the door open to you. You might go straight past it, you know, to another door. But, you know, I think the opportunities start to come once you have a clear image and a clear vision of what it is that you want and what it is that you want to achieve. You don't have to have the plan. You know, you can come up with a plan after, but you have to know what it is that you want. And I think what you were talking about, what was resonating with me was just having a vision board and to think really big. Don't limit yourself.
I like
in fact,
that.
you were talking about 8 billion. You know, you could fit all of those 8 billion people could fit into the state of Texas. You know, every one of them. So, you know, I think we do limit our thinking, or can do, and I think a vision board can help, because you could write something down and then go, no, I can go bigger than that. And you can, of course you can, but we doubt ourselves. We doubt our own abilities, and we put limitations on ourselves. And really what we need to do is free ourselves from those self-limiting beliefs and believe that you can. You know, I was talking to people today and they were saying they were thinking about opening up a groomers, and not that I'm in the grooming business, you know, I'm in business and I'm in the pet industry business, but you know, she was thinking about opening up a groomers, and she was saying, but you know, I just don't think I have enough experience. I don't think I have enough confidence, you know. And I said to her, well, if you think that, that's exactly how you're going to feel. You know, you do feel that you don't have any confidence. You do feel that you don't have enough experience with larger dogs and stuff like this. I said, what you need to be saying is you need to be flipping that around, saying, oh my God, I'm great with large dogs. You know, I've got loads of experience. People really want to come to me because I'm the best in the field at what I do, you know. And as soon as you start talking like that, you start feeling a lot different about it. You know, you see different opportunities come to you, you know. So yeah, I think having a clear vision and believing in it. I like to think of it as remembering it as if it's already happened. You know, that vision that you want, remember it like it's already happened to you. You know, don't see it in the future. See it as if it's already happened right now. And in that moment, it has really, I suppose. You're just waiting for it to manifest, you know, and your actions will take care of that.
Yeah, Mick, you talked about something very interesting, because Henny has, yes, Henny, say what it means. What is a vision board?
It's a preview of what your future is going to look like. You see yourself.
It's a preview of the future. I love that idea. And you know, Anne and I had the opportunity to go to the SPCA here in South Africa, and of course we went to go and look at a new pet, a new dog that we want to adopt and bring into our home. And what was interesting with that process is immediately beginning to think of a name. You know, a name that describes this particular animal and the future. And when you were talking about vision board, and you were talking and you mentioned grooming and so on, I just suddenly realized that actually this picture, this vision that you see needs a name. It needs to be clearly defined. And so I made this link, and I just realized the importance of describing that vision clearly, but also giving it a name. Naming that future, naming and claiming, maybe some people might say. Henny, what are your thoughts on this vision board which Mick has raised up, or maybe your insights this evening just on the talk itself?
Let's continue on the vision board first. When I was 16 years old, I was a high jumper. So I participated in athletics, but high jump was my item. No prizes for guessing why. And one of the main challenges for a high jumper is to reach the magical height of 2 meters. So without me knowing anything, I took an A4 piece of paper and I put 2.0 meters on that paper in big black with a big black Koki, and I made 4 or 5 of them. One of them was on the ceiling right above my bed. So if I was lying on my back in my bed, I could see it. There was one on the fridge where I spent a lot of time, and a few others in the house. And I just saw this 2 meter magical mark the whole time. Um, and every time I saw it, I saw myself getting to that number. And believe it or not, it actually happened. So I was very young. I was 16 years. I didn't understand the logic behind it. I've now, ever since, grown a little bit. My vision board has grown quite a lot. And it's unbelievable how things are starting to happen. And I'm almost in the space now where I almost feel like affirmations right next to my vision board is almost creating the instinct that sits between the two of them and connects them and make it happen. It almost feels like I'm speaking to the pictures. The universe hears me and it starts happening. It's starting to become more and more obvious as I grow older now.
I think what we're talking about tonight is something that is so important. There's an interesting observation that I've made, and Mick, I haven't visited Ireland. Can you believe that? Apparently my ancestors come from a very small little patch of land. There's a grey cloud over it all the time, they say. But it's a small island called the Isle of Ulva, I think it is, next to the Isle of Mull of Kintyre. There was that song. Okay, so and it's pretty close to Ireland, but I've never got to Ireland itself. And so it's wonderful just to have these different accents on tonight's show. But what's interesting that I've observed here in South Africa is that teenagers, it's almost like the day they become a teenager, like when they are 13 years of age, they start putting up pictures in their bedrooms, on the wall, behind the cupboard door. And usually it's about a rock star or some superhero or something. It almost seems like we instinctively are wired to put up pictures of the vision, as opposed to just words. It's like creating this picture. It seems like a natural thing. Do young people do this in your part of the world?
I think they do. I think everybody does that. Maybe I'm too old to talk about maybe what the young people do. Maybe they look at Pinterest and Instagram, and maybe they're not putting stuff like that up. It could be all social media stuff. But I know that when I was growing up, you would put up pictures of Porsches and different things like this, but inevitably, society kind of tells you that you're never going to have that. Whether it be, because you go through that education system and limits are put on you immediately. You're taught what to think, not how to think. And then you have the social structures, where you grow up, where you live, different things. And again, you get to a certain age and then you're told that you have to get a job. No one wants a job. Nobody wants a job. Yeah. No one wants that. They want a life. They want a lifestyle with purpose. But why don't they teach that? That would be much more progressive, for human beings all over, to teach, lifestyle, how to live a lifestyle where, you're making a difference for somebody else. You hear a lot very recently, certainly here in Ireland, you hear a lot about mindfulness and different things like this. And, maybe my views aren't the same as everybody else. I was talking to a teacher and the topic of mindfulness came up and I asked her what her opinion was. And she thought it was great that kids were being taught mindfulness and how to, control their mind. And I was like, that's really interesting. What happened to all of the the values of, kindness, and
Yeah.
unselfishness. When I think about mindfulness, especially the way it's taught here, and the concepts, it's all about me. It's all about my mind, and how somebody else's actions hurts me, and how I'm a victim all the time. I've got mental health issues now and everything else like this. When really, to be honest, if people were encouraged to be kind to one another, and encouraged to not be selfish, not to think about themselves all of the time, and think about how your actions can maybe impact on somebody else in a more positive way. I think there's a bigger conversation around that for sure. Maybe I just don't understand mindfulness. It could be that. There could, my understanding of it could be something different, or my interpretation of it. But yeah, getting back to it, I think younger kids are probably looking at Instagram, and they're probably looking at stuff that they shouldn't be looking at, right? And you can see, I think you can see this in society, with certainly when you think about game playing and stuff like this, and the violence that people are, and the different things that people are shown now, and it's normalized now, whereas those behaviors aren't really normal in a structured society, where it's going to benefit everybody else.
And what you're talking about now is maybe, for me, the first time I was exposed to a television screen was when sorry?
Television. This is where they're
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
The first time I was exposed to one was when my uncle, my grandfather's brother-in-law, he was the first one in the whole district to have a television set. So we used to go there just to watch the test pattern. Back in 1976, we'd sit and stare at this test pattern, hoping for the images to one day come, not knowing that our children and maybe our grandchildren will be sitting and spending hours and hours and hours of every day absorbing other people's vision or plan for their life. And so what you're talking about right now is maybe an invitation to all people, young and old, but particularly the young ones, to put aside the digital device with other people's vision and replace it with your own personal vision. Because when you have a vision that goes beyond yourself, that has the ability, that's purposeful. A purposeful vision is not one that's all about me, myself, and I, the selfish kind of lifestyle that you may have alluded to with this concept of mindset, or I can't remember the exact word you used. But if we have purposeful vision, it's going to have an impact in the lives of others, and that brings meaning, that brings fulfillment. And if you just listen to the people that have reached their years of retirement now, they're still seeking to connect with purpose and to be engaged in something meaningful. Henny, you've got teenagers. No, not teen. They're a little bit. Are they ending their teenage years, or are they out of teenage years already?
21, 19, and 17. So yeah.
Okay, so why don't you share some ideas about this new era, this digital device, and the other things that seem to be striving for the attention of our children? What is your experience?
Before I jump onto that, just some quick feedback here. So Quentin saying we are wired to think in pictures. Agree 100%. And Ronald says what God made was the image, and we have to start from that point. So we're talking around the imaging. I was thinking while you were talking right now, saying there's two types of purposes in this world. There's the purpose of the world that's focused on success, and if I don't have a purpose, that is the purpose that I will follow, and that purpose could have a name like Mick mentioned as well, called Instagram or Facebook, whatever. I spend my time following it. If, however, I've got my own purpose, that purpose should be significant, and it's going to be very different from the world, because it's not going to be about me, myself, and I. and I need to make a definite decision to make sure that I follow my own purpose. Because you're right, kids. To give you an example, my middle one gets about 200 to 250 WhatsApps per hour, and he's upset if he misses one of them that he didn't respond to. So I mean, that's their life. He spends between 8 and 9 hours a day on his phone responding to people and doing things. That excludes him spending time with games that he plays. He's a student, so he's actually supposed to study. I don't know when he does it, but that's where the world is driving us. I mean, the kids have found purpose in something else. What if they could start swapping some of that time they spend there, investing it in other people and investing in mapping the world? What a big difference it would make. I mean, they've got the time. They still tell you they don't have enough time in a day to do what they need to, but they've got lots of time if I listen to the stats that he gives me.
Mick, you've brought up something really important, and I think we just need to, this whole we're in a very rapidly developing society if we look at technology, and I think the technology that we have today, we may marvel at or see the dangers in it, yet it's people like us, our age, that created it. We started the process. We came up with Star Trek. And we put the image over there and said, this is kind of far-fetched science fiction, never will happen. And who would have thought while we were watching Star Trek that one day we would actually be doing just that, talking from one world to another over a screen? So we, to some extent, have been the contributors to this world. We've created this world. It's been part of somebody's vision. What is it that we can do that can help the next generation have an even more powerful vision to use this technology that's been created for good, as opposed to creating a whole bunch of what I would like to call zombies that just sort of drift through life from one WhatsApp to the next, from one Facebook post to the next. What advice could we give, or what? Yeah, I'm just going to just put it there.
I think it's important to recognize that probably, we were zombies first, where you come home from school and, you plug into the television, you watch all the kids programs, you've got your favorite shows that you like to watch. And then as you get older, then you switch to favorite soaps and different things like this. You watch all your sports and you live for these programs. You don't want to miss them. And you've set up your DVD recorder to record these things. Now we don't need to do that because it's all done, for you. All that's happened is that they've moved, they've just introduced a couple of different platforms which can lock somebody in, at an earlier age. It still gives you the same dopamine hits in your brain, whether it's television or whether it's social media platforms. The difference is that the attention span has been lost. Someone won't watch a 30-minute TV program now. Now they have to watch a 30-second TikTok or 1 minute. 5 minutes is like a documentary for somebody. So it's, yes, it's sped up, but I think the way that one way that maybe younger people is if they had to start accepting more responsibility, for not necessarily for themselves, but for what they do and how they do things. I had a lady rang me today. Her name was Stella. In fact, it was just before I hopped on the call. And she rang me and she was asking if we were looking, what age does someone have to be before they can come and work for our company? And just so that people know, I own a company called Pet Sitters Ireland, which is Ireland's largest, most recommended, most trusted in-home pet care company. We've delivered well over 500,000 pet care services to thousands and thousands of customers all over Ireland. We have another business in America which teaches this, and it's a
Mick,
great.
before you go too far, just say the name slowly so that I can hear it. The name of your company.
Well, the name of my company is called Pet Sitters Island.
Pet Sitters. I love that. Pet Sitters Island.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that are going to be listening to this recording and saying, "I know Pet Sitters Island."
I'm sure they do. But this lady rang up. Her name was Stella. She rang up and she was looking for a job for her son. Now her son's only 14 years old, and I was saying, look, it doesn't hit the criteria, the age criteria that we can take him on for insurance purposes and stuff like this. But look, I really want to help you, because if a young 14-year-old guy is looking to, has expressed an interest that he wants to work or earn some money, you want to encourage that entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurial spirit, so I give her loads of different things that she could do, to help get her son some extra money over the summer. But I did say that, look, you're going to be heavily involved in this because you can't let your 17-year-old son go out into strangers' homes and stuff like this. So you're going to have to do some work here too. Whether that's put her off the idea or not, but she's got loads of things that she can go and do. And I think that's the difference. Like me helping her doesn't benefit me one little bit, right? But it could benefit her and it could benefit her son. And, service to many leads to greatness. And greatness isn't necessarily measured, in money or wealth. If you do something really well, the reward comes back to you, whether it's financial or some other kind of reward. So I think the more people that you can help and help them see a vision for themselves, paint a clear picture for them. Most people are just lost. Most people just don't, they're doing a home to work routine. Monday, they get up in the morning, they go to work, they come home, they watch the telly, they get up in the morning, they come home, oh, forgot to take the bin out. They come home, take the bin out, and then they go to work. And they're just trapped in this hamster wheel, which has been created for them. And then they edify it by labeling themselves as this person, as that person, as I do this or I do that. And they think that that's their purpose. And it isn't. They're made for so much more. They just don't know it. They don't know how to tap into it. I don't even know how to tap into it. So, I think that we're always learning and we've always got more things to learn. And whenever, like, you think you come out of school and that's it, you're done. That's how I was. You go through school, you come out of school and you think, that's it, I'm done with learning. Don't need to read any more books. Don't need to do anything anymore. All I need to do is just make some money, carve a path for myself in the world. And then someone, smacks you down, puts you back in your place. You're not allowed to have that. You can't do this. You can't do that. So I think, just encouraging people that they can have whatever it is that they want. They can have whatever they think about. And if they think about fear, they're going to get more fear. If they think about, love, or they think about, excitement, or they think about whatever it is they're thinking about, it's going to come to them. But you have to be thinking about it. You can't be daydreaming about it. You can't be wishing it. Wishes don't really come true. You have to act on it.
I was watching a documentary just this week of one of Israel's past prime ministers. I believe his name was Shimon Peres. And it was just amazing how he used this concept of dream. And what he was talking about was having a vision that consumes your heart. And I think what you're saying this evening is that it's time for us to begin to listen to our heart, not our digital device. We need to maybe put ourselves in a quiet space, because every young child asks one question of their parents, or at least mine did, and the people in my neighborhood. These young kids, they just say, "Why, Daddy? Why, Mommy? Why, Daddy? Why, Mommy? Why, Grandpa? Why, Granny?" It's why. I never heard them saying how. It was just why. And they were never satisfied with the first answer they got. They kept asking until, of course, parents come up with that great answer because they themselves don't know why they're here. And they say, because. It used to be because I said so, but eventually it just becomes because. And I think there comes a time when we are tired of hearing that answer, our question's not answered, the school system doesn't answer the question, the workplace doesn't answer the question, we begin to stop asking it. And we kind of settle for things as they are. We almost, we almost, as you say, we almost embrace the hamster wheel. And I think the time for that word of encouragement to get people to say, hey, just instead of looking at what everyone else is doing, just look to the side a little bit. You might see something there that grips your heart, that says, hey, I have need for your gifts and talents. Come and help me. It may be a situation, it may be a problem, it may be whatever in the world there that you are perfectly designed to meet. And I think if we learn to listen to our heart, like my grandmother used to always say, listen to your heart. I think we need to learn that. And maybe the mindset teaching should shift down to the heart and get children to begin to listen to their heart again and ask that question, why? Henny, I just noticed that Gustav shared something, and it kind of ties in with the whole vision story. I'm going to put it on the screen. Maybe you've read his comment already. He says that technology, with all its benefits, have the risk of distracting you from what is necessary to realize your vision. Isn't that so true? And at the same time, we have all of these things pulling at us, making us panic about meeting deadlines and rushing to and fro, when the most important thing is being neglected and left for another day, or when I have time. What are your thoughts on that?
I think while you were chatting, the one thing came out. So what can we do different to get the youth of this world to follow us? And I think that question for me, while I was thinking about it, was answered, I think, by three of the visitors we've got online. Passmore was saying, I tell my family the reason I do not watch television is I'm preparing to be watched on TV as I map the world by
I
God's
love
power.
That. Isn't he must have picked that up at Mix Map Cafe, Passmore.
Yeah,
I'm joking, but that's an exciting. I like that very much.
it
Yes,
is.
continue.
Yeah, Ronald is saying we were limited because the visionaries thought they spent a lot, so they needed to control everything. For me, it was all about the control again. And Quentin then said, if we are defined by what we do, then we're nothing if we don't do it. And for me, that was the key thing. I think, what do we need to do differently for the youth is really, maybe we need to think of ourselves as walking vision boards. Let the youth, let the people see us live a significant, purposeful life to such an extent that they actually want to say, I want to do that as well. Can you please help me to get there if you haven't done it before? So that's what I'm thinking, is it's really the doing it.
I was going to say a word that is not the right word to say, and that was I was going to say to you, the old me would have said, Henny, you're putting a lot of pressure on us here tonight, asking us to walk the walk. Can't we just preach it? But that's so right. I think if we become so busy with the thing that we're passionate about, people will begin to call us by that name. They'll talk about Mick the pet guy, because Mick just loves making people feel great about their pets. If I remember, Mick, you said to me, you're not there looking after pets. You're there to make pet owners feel great, or make them feel that they're the best pet owners on the planet. And it's having that different, that change that makes such a difference. I need to just say that I'm living. In South Africa, we're incredibly conservative, and one of the things that we're conserving at the moment is power. So there's a very strong possibility that somebody is going to decide that I need to conserve power. So if I disappear, don't be afraid. Henny is in a different part of the country, and they will probably not cause him to conserve power. So Henny will be able to end the show for us. And of course, that's just an internal joke. So this message or this discussion that we've had tonight, I think it's going to be the seed for others to begin to take this. And I'd like to encourage everybody that's been sharing their really valuable insights. I mean, these are Mick, I don't know if you agree with me, but when I listen to Passmore's comments and what Rion has said, Gustav, Ronald, Sankwe, they've all made comments. All of their comments have triggered and made the discussion that much more rich in its content. It's inspired me to think from a different angle, have a different approach. And I
Henny
feel...
made a very valid point. Sorry for interrupting. I think Henny made a very valid point, when he talked about, being the doer. Right. And when he mentioned that, it reminded me of a conversation I was having earlier where a young lady was saying that she wanted to dip her toe in, and I said to her, look, you can't get wet by dipping your toe in. You have to jump in the pool. You have to get all the way in, get comfortable, and then figure out how to do it. And to be honest, your role, Heather King's role, and many, many other people is really when those people get into the pool is to teach them how to swim in there. That's it. It's no more complicated than that. It's just about getting people in the pool.
I grew up at the coast.
And I think that is Glen sharing, consuming his electricity. Yeah, for me, that's so true. That's so true. I was going to close off with a Steve Jobs quote that says, your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. And I think that's really what we are doing. Go and be the person you can be. You've got the skills, you've got everything that you need. Go and take everything you've got. Go and do what you're supposed to do by following your purpose. Get the people to follow you. That's all you need to do. And sometimes when I was still small at church, they said to me, you just live like the Bible tells you. You don't have to go and tell people to become Christians. They will just follow you based on what you are doing. That's all you have to do. Map for Life for me is almost the same. Find your significant purpose and go and do it. It will make a difference. People will start seeing it. So yeah, from my side, I think that's it. I'm going to ask you something on your side, Mick, that you want to close with.
Well, I think, something that Heather King always says, and that is shine in your service to others. And I just think that's a very poignant thing. But certainly, when I think about what it is that we do and how we try and help people, yeah, there are tasks that we perform for people. That's the task that we do. What we really do is something much, much bigger than that. And I think we all have something to sell. And the best thing to sell is to sell feelings, help somebody feel better about something, even just in a moment. So, I think about that a lot. And I think about what Heather said, to shine in your service to others. Passmore has some amazing insights. It's always great to listen to. And being part of the MAP Cafe community and having the opportunity to come on here and talk nonsense with you, Henny, right? About, right? I hope that, people can see that, I'm nothing special. I put my trousers on one leg at a time, the same as everybody else. But of course, if I can do it, you can do whatever it is that you really want to do. You just need to start and don't stop and believe in yourself.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. It was nice having you aboard. We've seen you on the Facebook. It was nice to see your face and have you part of the panel. One last thing, Quentin says, I hear more and more from learners how irrelevant school is. Our kids need to be led to what makes them feel most alive. And it looks like Glen might be joining us again. I think it's changed. Kids need an example. The world is setting examples by something called social media. And I think it's our job to go and make that difference, to say, rather do things the way that I do it, because that is significant, rather than following social media. And maybe the simple thing is to teach people to ask the right questions, rather than asking the question of what's in it for me. Change that question to say, what can I do for others? I think the second question is going to get you a lot further.
I would agree. I would agree, Henning.
Glenn, any last words from you?
Well, I see you watching me. No, I just want to say thank you so much, you guys. You've really enriched my life this evening by participating. It is just such a joy to be engaged in discussions of this nature. I think we are starting something that let's trust will begin to trend one day on those platforms that are distracting people, and rather be the source for their encouragement and change. So thank you so much to the two of you for being part of the panel, to Gustav as well behind the scenes for sharing, and especially those who've joined online. I think every one of them have really enjoyed this evening just by looking at the way they've participated. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening further.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Okay, good night. We'll just play without a short little video on the close. Bye-bye.
Muy buenos días a todos. I am Miguel Sanz from Madrid, Spain. I started using Map for Life back in 2016, where this picture here, where I am with Glen, belong to that year in the training I did in Pretoria. And you know, there are many talks, many talks out there in internet, in real life, where great speakers tells you that you are unique, that you need to find your purpose, what you need to do in life. You end up out of those talks really happy, but naked, because you have no tools. What's Map for Life? Map for Life gives you the tools to achieve your goals, to be precise, to do all the things you need to do to achieve them. You are unique. Be mapped.